Hey there, everybody. It's another great day for a workout here on Jessica Smith TV. Today, I wanted to take you through a more knee-friendly lower body series that will hopefully give you some ideas and alternatives that you might be able to use in other workouts as well, in case your knees are feeling a little cranky. Now, I just want to preface this by saying not all knee issues are the same. If you do experience knee pain on a regular basis, please go see a medical professional who can diagnose you and give you a specific treatment condition. I'm not qualified to treat knee conditions, so please see someone who is. Again, this is just to give you some ideas. Not every movement will work for everybody, so skip the ones that just don't work for you. So the first thing we're gonna do, we need to have a chair handy, and if you can, grab a little pillow. So carefully sit back into your chair. And we can start by turning on the inner thighs. So if you can, grab a pillow. If you don't have one, you could just sit with your knees together. But sit up nice and tall, stacking your shoulders over your hips. And we're just gonna start by activating the inner thighs with a nice little inner thigh squeeze and hold. If you have a small squishy ball, you could also use that in between your knees. We're just working on squeezing through the inner thighs, engaging and holding, and then releasing. Engaging and holding, and releasing. Squeeze, 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 and release. So we're kind of building our warm up into the work here. Good. Squeeze, 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 and release. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And just go ahead and hold that squeeze, taking a little pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just hold it, hold it, hold that contraction. Hold, keep squeezing that ball or pillow as much as you can, like you're trying to pop a balloon. And release it. Okay, so you can get rid of that pillow, just put it back behind you. Again, this may not work for your knees, so see how you feel. But instead of doing a full range squat, one of the things that you can practice is just standing up out of your chair, because it's some movement we have to do throughout our day, right? Getting up and getting down. So make sure your feet are a comfortable distance apart. One of the big things we want to watch for in squats is that our knees aren't rolling in or out. So we want them really just tracking straight forward. You could use the edges of your chair if you needed it to just come up and then sit back. Please make sure your chair is not going to move on you. You could put your hands on your thighs. Just practice lifting your hips to your own degree out of your chair. So you don't have to fully extend the knees here. Again, you could use the arms of your chair just to lift you and to sit back down. Very small range of motion to start, pressing through the tops of the thighs. As you build your strength, as you see how this feels to you, pressing up, again, paying attention to the knees and the feet. We don't want to roll the knees or the feet or the ankles in or out. So if that's feeling okay to you, you might want to try this next one. If this is a little iffy, stay with this or skip it. You could also do something called a wall sit. I'll show you that in a second. So we can stand all the way up and practice sitting back into that chair. Again, please make sure your chair is not going to fall and it's a comfortable distance away from you so you're safe to do this. So we could practice sitting back. Again, if you have arms on your chair, you can use it to help guide you back, and then just stand up like you normally would. So practicing the hip hinge, practicing sitting back, getting into the thighs, trying to really stay out of our knees. So we're sitting back, 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 back. Use the hands if you need it on the chair. Do whatever you need to do. So we're working an eccentric contraction, lowering into that chair position. Again, paying attention to what's happening throughout our entire body, making sure we're not rolling in or out with the feet or the toes or the ankles. Again, skipping this if this doesn't feel good to you. Sit back. Good. And moving on. Okay, so let's move on. Just standing beside that chair, you can hold on to it for balance now. And we'll take the leg forward, still working through the tops of the thighs. You can flex that foot or relax your foot, whatever feels better. I feel it more when I flex my foot. So I'm gonna bend my standing leg. I'm gonna lift up and lower. Now I could push my hand into the top of my thigh. Just really wanna feel the top of that thigh contract and lower. So if you really need to avoid that flexion or extension of the knee, this is just a nice one to practice an isometric hold through the quadriceps. Let's try 8 more. Three more. 2 more. Last one. Good, let's go ahead and switch. So I'm gonna change to the other side, changing legs, and we got lift and lower. So again, finding the range of motion that's working for you, standing up nice and tall. Squeeze, 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 and release. Pressing using that hand for extra resistance if you choose. Good, so I'm gonna take you over to the wall to show you the wall sits here. So for a wall sit, you're just gonna go as far down as you can, press down and hold. Squeezing through the tops of the thighs, make sure that your knees are over your ankles. You're not, again, rolling in or out, and you're just holding that isometric contraction, pushing your back against the wall, pushing through the tops of the thighs. Squeeze and just hold it as long as you can to come in and out of it. You can just carefully use your hands. So let me show you again to get into it. Dropping your hips, try to sit as low as you can, but you can take this higher if it's more comfortable on your knees. And then to come out of it carefully, push yourself up gently. Coming back to the chair now, so we can practice our lunges. Again, may not work for you, skip them if they don't. But a nice way to build into them is, again, using a chair or a wall for balance and just really stepping back and taking a nice hip hinge position. So that can sometimes really make it a little bit easier on the knee. Again, paying attention to where our knees are pointing and our toes, and we just come down, and you could just practice holding here, or you could take a small range of motion up and down, real light on the back foot, pulsing up and down, driving through that heel. So again, paying attention how you're feeling. If you're doing another workout that has lunges in it, you might just want to hold a static lunge position, just staying in place, or really working through the glutes on this version with that hip hinge. This is an option that you might want to try as well. So let's make sure we're even. We stand back up, switching legs, hinging at the hips. Again, either holding that static position or small little up and down. Really thinking about focusing on that front heel driving down through the floor. And you could make this a larger range of motion, much smaller, holding it statically, whatever is feeling good for your body. And again, one side might be different than the other. So just see what feels best for each side of your body. Adapt and adjust. Make it work best for you. And last one. Good. So if you wanted to do more upright lunges, again, rear stepping, a little bit more knee friendly. You could practice holding on, stepping back, or going for that static hold and just staying there as the other workouts go up and down and coming up. So now let's get more into the glutes. So we're gonna stand. You could also do this lying on your side as well. I like to do it standing because it kind of works our standing leg too. So holding onto the chair, take your leg out. I'm gonna have a little bit of a bend just to support myself here. And I'm gonna take the leg in line with my hip, and then I'm gonna aim it back and up, kind of like on a diagonal. So I'm gonna squeeze up and up. So if you need to take the pressure out of that bottom knee, go ahead and lie on your side on the floor. You can do the exact same thing with your bottom knee bent on the ground. Small range of motion, up and back, up and back. Now pointing the toe in line with your hip, tracing a circle. 8, front to back. 7, doesn't have to be big. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now just reverse direction for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come around to the other side. Taking that same thing on the other side. So again, on the floor or standing, lifting slightly back and up, up, squeeze. So it's small but subtle. You gotta really focus on squeezing through the glutes here. Make your upper body comfortable on that chair or the floor. So sometimes smaller, more controlled ranges of motion really help us get even more out of the contraction of the muscle. So don't ever feel bad if you need to swap these out for bigger, more exciting looking movements. You may still get even as much activation from the muscle out of it if you're really focused and concentrated and doing what's best for your body. Point your toe. Let's trace that circle for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. It's right in line with your hip. 2, reverse it for 8, 7, 6, 5. I know I'm feeling it too. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, so we are going to head to the floor. I'm just going to scooch my chair down more. So we want the seat of the chair to be facing us. Carefully, especially if you have knee issues, carefully make your way down onto your back. And we're gonna dig the heels into the seat of the chair. So this is to get into our hamstrings. So if deadlifts or other hamstring type exercises just don't feel good to you, maybe you wanna try this one. So you're gonna dig your heels into the seat of the chair. Try to get your knees about above your hips. Arms can just be down by your sides or at your hips. And you're gonna dig and try to imagine you're gonna pull the chair in towards you so you activate through the backs of those legs. Tap into those hamstrings and then just release. So just starting with that pulling in. So that may be where you wanna stay. If you want a little bit more, pull in and tuck your tailbone under to lift the hips. So I'm not going into a big full bridge, just a slight little hover of my pelvis of the mat. I've got my tailbone tucked under and I'm really digging those heels in. And I can do a little pulse here with the heels, pulsing in. Again, you're not really gonna see it, but you're gonna feel it if you dig the heels and pull in, in, in. Concentrate on that contraction through those hamstrings. Oh yeah, pull in. In. Again, your hips may feel more comfortable on the floor. You'll still get the hamstring work there too, so lower them down if you need to. And we can have even more fun action by lifting one leg and holding that contraction here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Lower it down, dig the heel in, pull it in, lift the other leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down and release it. So that's one that I really like for the hamstrings. It's much sneakier. It looks much more simple than it is. So from there, let's just go ahead and clear the chair. I'm gonna keep working on the floor. Just gonna move my chair out of my way here. I'm gonna take my feet together for more of a butterfly position. So this is just, you've seen traditional bridges, which you can absolutely do for your glutes, but this one just helps us tap a little bit more into the glute media. So you can either come onto the edges of your feet, or if that feels uncomfortable to you, just keep your feet flat but your knees open. Tuck your tailbone, press your low back into the mat, tuck under and squeeze into your glutes. And then from there, you can just do a little press. So it's a very, again, small, subtle, but focused contraction into those glutes. So the glute medius we really want to pay attention to, especially because when that's weak, we may be contributing to those knee issues. Again, everybody's different, so make sure that you see a professional who can diagnose you and help you with a specific treatment plan, but just giving you some ideas that might help so you can adjust other workouts or get a nice lower body workout in that may not aggravate existing knee issues. 4, 3, 2, really hold and squeeze. Slowly release it. Okay, so while we're down here, let's go into a clamshell position. So we're gonna lie on our side, just make your upper body comfortable, knees in front of you. And I just recently heard this tip and I think it's really great, but taking that top leg slightly forward. So we're usually really stacked here, which we do wanna keep the hips stacked, but shift your hips slightly forward so the top knee is a little bit more in front of your bottom knee. And then take your clamshell open from there. So that just kind of helps keep that pelvis stacked, helps us really tap into, again, the glute work right here as we open and close. So it's not a huge push forward, it's just a slight little tiny tweak, taking that top knee slightly in front of the bottom knee, if that feels good. If it doesn't, and you want to keep them totally stacked, that's fine. We just don't want to rock the hips back here, and we don't want to shorten the space up here. So keep it lengthened, keep it stacked. And just see to what degree you can open and close that top knee. Toes are touched lightly together. External rotation of that hip. Now take that leg up, rotating in, toes turned down. So I'm not turning out, I'm turning in. I'm gonna take the leg slightly in front of me and then back in line with my hip. So before we were going back, now we're going slightly forward and up. Right here. Down and up. Squeeze. Up and back. So you have to kind of keep playing with your positioning. Internal rotation to rotating the toes down, heel up and back. So I'm lifting my hip, my heel slightly higher than my hip, but in line with my hip as it comes back. Ooh, starting to feel it. Let's see if we can maybe do 4 more. 3, 2, 1 more. Yes, nicely done. Okay, let's turn it to the other side and do both of those on the other leg. So stacking again, if it feels good, slight adjustment to bring that top knee just a little in front. Open and close. So use your first couple of reps just to adapt your body position. See what feels good. Make sure that top hip does not roll backward. You want to keep the pelvis stacked. And just noticing if you get any more rotation from the hip on this side versus the other. Again, I think slowing things down, being really concentrated and focused on what's happening in our body is such a great exercise for our mind-body connection. Can allow you to get even more out of all of your workouts. All right, so let's turn the toes down. I'm gonna point down and lift up and back. So I'm going internal rotation, and then I'm leading the heel up in line with my hip and slightly higher. So it's a forward and back, but not behind the body at the top. Internal rotation, lead with the heel up and back. Concentrated and controlled. Make it work for you. All right, so while we're on the floor, let's just do one more here for the inner thighs. So your top leg is gonna be bent behind you, extend your bottom leg. Again, make your upper body comfortable. You could use your hand here or just lift, taking the heel up. Squeeze. So you want to rotate that heel up. You might want to come up onto your elbow, but make sure you're just kind of off of your hip bone and more into your cheek so you can focus on squeezing through that inner thigh to lift it to the sky. Again, just adapting to your body, seeing what's feeling good to you. Nice little inner thigh concentrated exercise. There was some magic to the method of those leg lifts in the 80s. They have not gone out of style. They still can serve a purpose. Good, let's take it around to the other side. Especially if we do them right and we really concentrate on the muscle that we're working. Heel up, pull. So if you wanted to advance this, you could add a very light weight on the inner thigh. Don't recommend ankle weights or wrist weights. I think they can put a lot of undue stress and strain on the joints. But if you wanted to add that resistance, you could either press down or add a light weight here on the inner thigh itself. Again, you could be lying flat on your side. Make sure you're back and off your hips so it's not painful. Or you can always add padding underneath your hips when you're on your side lying down. If you need more cushioning, add pillows, fold your mat, whatever it takes to really just make you comfortable so you can concentrate on the muscle work. Great job. Okay, so that is some of my favorite alternatives. Hopefully it gave you some ideas on how you can work the different areas of your lower body without having to do those more traditional squat and lunges, or how to adapt those squat and lunges to work best for your body's needs. Please, again, go see somebody if you're continuing to have knee issues. You want to make sure that you address whatever's going on with your body so you can fix it and not do further damage unknowingly as you are continuing with your workout journey. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and attention today. Please keep up all the great work you're doing with your training. I can't wait to get moving with you again soon. Take care, everybody.